Unleash the power of knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app now on Google Play and Apple App Store. Stay informed with authentic and diverse perspectives, breaking news, and cultural insights. Immerse yourself in a community that celebrates unity, resilience, and progress. Experience the vibrancy of the diaspora at your fingertips. Don't miss out. Empower your perspective today. Search African Diaspora News Channel and join the conversation.
Gayton Mckenzie says there is an expiry date for blaming white people or the apartheid system for what is wrong in this country. He wants the white people to stop feeling guilty for the sins of their forefathers. Hello, my name is Reneilwe Morema and I am your host right here on the African Diaspora News Channel, reporting live from Johannesburg, South Africa. The leader of the Patriotic Alliance Party, Gayton Mckenzie, lights up the crowd with a scathing critique of the political parties that are dominating the political scenes. But it was his outburst over apartheid blame game that caught my attention and ignited tension amongst the EFF supporters. Gayton Mckenzie is fairly new to politics, as I've mentioned before. He is bursting with energy, he's talking the talk, but can he walk the walk? I feel like when it comes to South African politics, there are a lot of aspects to consider. The political landscape is dynamic compared to other countries. It's a little bit tricky compared to other countries. We are a rainbow nation. We have multiple political parties, meaning our people have different lived experiences, thus different opinions. And for someone like Gayton to come on a public platform so strongly and seemingly advocating for the other race won't sit well with a lot of people.
Now I want you to hear it from me. There's an expiry date to blame your parents if they ill-treated you. There's an expiry date to blame your ex-wife. She ran away with your money. There's an expiry date to blame your teacher for not motivating you. Today, it's embarrassing for me as a black man to hear my leaders still blame white people for the sins of apartheid, for what is wrong in this country. It's an indictment. We've been in power for 30 years. How dare we still blame? In Rwanda, in the latter part of the century, they had a genocide. 25 years down the line, the country is a prosperous country. Japan was turned around. You don't blame yourself for the incompetence of the ANC. I want to say to every white person here that, you know what? You must stop feeling guilty for the sins of your fathers, for the sins of your grandparents. It's time that we rise up, not as white, not as black, not as Indian, not as colored, but as South Africans, and build this country like the Springboks did. They are the epitome of an example.
Surprisingly, I am a fan of Mckenzie. I have taken a note of his groundwork in Cape Town, uplifting the disadvantaged communities of Cape Town, patrolling the borders to stop illegal foreigners from sneaking in the country, helping with the search for young Jocelyn Smith, hiring private investigators, amongst other things. I applaud his involvement. But in his speech, he said a lot of things that made sense. I get that. You can go ahead and listen to his full speech here on YouTube. You can search for it. But that particular line where he says they should stop feeling guilty for the sins of their forefathers, and in the same breath, you telling them they shouldn't blame themselves for the incompetency of the ANC, or should I say the incompetence of a black government. It triggers me. Because the other folks have been comfortable in voicing out their disdain about how the ruling party is ruining the country, and some have gone out to say South Africa was better under apartheid than it is now under South African black government. These folks are not remorseful for their ancestors' actions.
But I'm not here to apologize. That's my point with the so-called truth and Reconciliation Commission. They want me to apologize. I'm not prepared to apologize.
Hy het weer vandag gesê dat hy is aan niemand 'n verskoning verskuldig nie. En hy staan by al die polisiemanne en hy staan by al die army manne wat mense doodgemaak het in die naam van die regering van destyds. So hy vra geen verskoning nie.
Are you saying you never did anything wrong? That's why you won't apologize?
No, but you are always in front to do wrong things.
Well, my question was to you.
But would you apologise to Mr. Mandela for the 27
I
years?
know that gentleman. I know that gentleman. He's one of the gentlemen I don't like.
Who's the killer? Who's the killer?
Are you going to apologise for all the people who died in jail, who died in Lesotho, and who died in Ivory Coast?
No, I'm praying for them.
They do not feel any inch of pain or regret. And you telling them to stop feeling guilty for something they did not take responsibility for, it's a punch in the gut for the black community that you claim to be representing. I do not think that Mckenzie is familiar with the National Policy Plan, the NDP. One of the policy's main mandates is to readdress past and present inequalities. The NDP also puts it clear what the apartheid government has done to the black people. The legacy it has left in South Africa, the bitter mark it has left in the South African legacy, we know there is still a lot more we can blame apartheid for. Gayton Mckenzie or any other person, whether black or white, have no moral or logical and rational ground to stand on by saying we can no longer blame apartheid. Every day in our education, the labor market and society as a whole, we are still confronted by the legacy of apartheid. Yet we are asked to forget and stop blaming apartheid. Why? South Africa is still an unequal state today. We don't get offered the same opportunities and lifestyle as the other folks. Many black South Africans are still poor today. Our parents and their parents were never given the opportunity to further their education. Through Bantu education, the apartheid government ensured that the only skills black people acquired were servicing the privileged minorities. There were domestic workers, knit workers, garden boys, and woodwork. And if one was lucky, they would become nurses, teachers, and any other form of police work. Black parents who were a generation that grew up under apartheid are unable to pay their children's tuition fees, and they struggle to find jobs in this competitive labor market. Many black families depend on government. We depend on government, no-fee schools, and use financial loans to cover college fees simply because we cannot afford. When the children finally graduate, they do not have fathers that own companies nor have connections that will secure them a job in the labor market. So what must happen? They get thrown back to the highly competitive labor market. So it is very hard to penetrate the system in South Africa with this legacy that apartheid has left us. That time, a white child or a person who graduated the same time as the black person will have more chances of getting a job at his dad's company or with connections because of the positive apartheid legacy they were left with. Apartheid's exclusion of our parents, of our black parents, from getting proper education so to get good jobs will haunt us forever. Despite the progress being made by the government, it is the black majority in South Africa that continues to be confronted by poverty, unemployment, and inequality. The economy and the private sector are still largely controlled by the white South Africans, and it will take more than 50 years to undo the legacy of apartheid. What Gayton Mckenzie and his followers and the people that applaud him for saying this speech are saying that the unequal society in South Africa does not exist. It does not exist today, and we cannot blame apartheid, but yet the born frees are still licking the wounds of apartheid passed on to them by their parents. The transition to democracy was not a magical moment like most South Africans think. The transition did not instantly, by a whip of a magic stick, give black people the education and skills they needed. It did not transfer the economic power from whites to blacks, and it did not instantly eliminate poverty. 1994 simply signaled a start to economic freedom. I think what Gayton Mckenzie fails to comprehend is the extent of damage the apartheid government has done to this country. He fails to see that apartheid was more than just getting physically beaten every day, racial discriminations, and all those segregations. Those were just the tip of the iceberg. Apartheid was I don't even know how to put it. Apartheid was a system carefully designed to alienate black people, denying them a quality life, denying them access to economy, systematically controlling their outcomes in life for future generations. It is almost like a DNA. It is almost like a DNA. The fragments and traits of apartheid can be passed down from generation to generation. It lingers in the air. It never truly dies. It is recycled. As poor as our ancestors were, today poverty is dominant in the black community. Racist as their ancestors were, today we have little kids systematically indoctrinated into hate or racism, amongst other atrocious things.
You EFF kaffer.
EFF kaffer? Oh, okay, that's not nice. What the f? That is not nice. In 2023, we're still dealing with racism.
Apartheid is a nasty scar that will never go away, and for Mckenzie to make such a bold statement without considering all the facts, it shows that he just wanted to gain voters. Or it shows that he just wanted to gain financial sponsorships to fund his party. And we all know which race is actively funding political parties as a means to control the country and push their agendas. I mean, I too would say anything to get these sponsorships. I too would push their agendas to get voters. He's still in the pitching phase, so I won't take his little statements to heart. We will forgive him. We will let him slide. But he needs to be aware that he is giving them a free pass from taking responsibility. These are the type of people he's advocating for. These are the type of people he's telling, do not feel guilty for your ancestors' mess. Do not feel guilty for your ancestors' sins. But yet they are still repeating their ancestors' sins still today. Secretly teaching their kids to be racist behind closed doors. And now today we see people, white people being free to say any racial slur on social media without consequences. What do you think about this segment? Don't forget to comment to us your thoughts and your opinion. You are welcome to express your views and your thoughts respectively on this platform. Don't forget to like and share the broadcast. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss these groundbreaking conversations right here on the African Diaspora News channel.